Mo.
Hello. I always do go hello. I don't know why. Hello. I'm back from the dead. I'm no longer ill. Thanks, Rich, by the way, for sitting in the hot seat. And it's a big shoes to fill, isn't it?
Yeah, it actually is. To be fair,
Yeah.
It's more pressure than you think. I think just not having an extra person for the dynamic was probably more of a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the view count's going to drop mad on that one.
You did very well, mate. Well done.
Fair,
Props to you.
I was a sick guest, to be fair.
Have you even watched it yet?
Nah.
He's obviously lying.
He's obviously lying. I like Abba. I know it should have been great. It's funny enough. I don't want to sit for an hour and a half of you talking, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we took the opportunity with you being away to turn it into a right old school moan zone.
I'm glad I missed it. But our guest today did not miss it. He actually said he watched it twice or listened to it twice.
Yeah. Good episode, man.
Again, I say this every time, but you've seen it from the title, who it is. We'll do a little intro, actually. I feel like it's good to hype up the guest a little bit. What can I say about this guy? He's got 2 top 40 hits, man. I think is it more now? Or is it still 2?
2, yeah.
Slacking.
I think
Slacking.
Slacking. Yeah, slacking,
Come
mate.
on, pick it up. He's kind of released. He's released on Shogun. He's done work with Shogun, but he's also done work with like crazy artists, like big time artists. Yeah, kind of just hops all over. Really, does his own thing. It's
hopping.
It's pretty inspiring to see. It's Mr. Andy Goddard.
Hey, thanks for having me on, boys.
Welcome. It's been a long time coming, this one.
Oh, yeah, I know, mate. I know. We were meant to be in a while back, weren't we?
I think it was January, but
Yeah.
I imagine probably absolutely slammed with work as well.
It's been pretty busy from the get-go this year because we had the Australia tour in November, January, and then as soon as come back, it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
I got back from America 2 weeks ago and I managed to skip the jet lag,
Nice.
but just straight away I was in session within 2 days again, so it doesn't stop. But it's good. I mean, it's not going to be as busy as last year, and I need to get back and write more music.
I was going to say, is that in some ways you kind of looking forward to that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'd be nice to spend have a bit more family time and stuff like that as well, because it's easy just to sort of get that tunnel vision, and then before you know it, 8 months has just gone. Phew.
Yeah.
So yeah, using this time to get back in the swing of music and just in the studio, really.
Nice. Was that your first time in America? Or have you been...
Yeah,
nice.
It was, man. I was pretty scared to go over there though, because I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
It was, I know that we all know they're sort of like peeking their head over the fence and taking interest in what's going on over here and other parts of the world. But I honestly thought it will probably be empty, but that's okay. If there's 10 people in there and 9 of them stay, you've maybe converted 9 people to liking drum and bass. You know what I mean? So I was really surprised with the amount of people that were there, and they were up for it. They were sending it, which was even more of a surprise.
And was this just you, or were you playing with other artists as well?
So it was mostly on my own, but I did a festival in Arizona, which was that was in a NASCAR stadium, which was very American.
It's about the most American thing you could do, really.
Yeah. They showed me to the green room, and I put this on my TikTok. I don't really post that much on my TikTok, but I had to, because I was like, I'm in this green room where I'm in a NASCAR stadium and it's just a bit bonkers, and I'm on my own, so I feel like I need to share this moment with you guys.
Nice.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was a really, really good experience. I'm excited to go back. Like, America's unique because it's just so different in every state. You know what I mean? Like, each state kind of feels like its own country in a way.
I mean, some of those states are literally bigger than the UK, so
It's bonkers, man. Like, when you're just flying above land like constantly, and then it changes from snow to like red hot desert, and you're just like, wow, this place is huge.
Pretty much is different countries, really. Like, we were having a little family debate recently with my sister. Was like, she's like, when you like talk about how many countries you've been to, she's like, if you count states as a country, then I'm on like shitloads more, and like realistically, they are completely different. Like, it's huge. The scope of it is mental.
Compare like Texas to like New York or whatever.
Yeah, but then also you do go down like you go down on like the East Coast. You can go like for thousands of miles, and some cities can feel very similar. And then you go like a little bit more inland, and suddenly everything drastically changes.
Then you go to Florida and you're like, wow, everyone's insane.
Yeah,
everyone here's a crazy person. I lived in Florida for a year. I'm allowed to say that. Yeah. I'm not just randomly cussing Florida. No.
So where was your favourite place to visit while you were out there, mate?
Well, we did one in Canada as well, in Vancouver, I think, and we sold it out. So
was that Red
was
Room?
Really good. Where was it called? This is how bad my memory is.
Oh,
I can't
mate.
even name of the venue. No.
If it was Red Room, you'd remember Red Room.
in the
It's so good in
basement,
there.
it had
Yeah, it's-
void
it's a little
acoustics
bit-
in
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I think that
it
may have
was
been Red Room then.
then,
Yeah. I mean, it's a sick club. I love that place. Was that your favourite place to play then?
I think so. Yeah, like it was just like I say, you know, the fact it sold out was like we didn't expect that, and when we were playing, you know, the guy said, the manager said you can go a bit longer, and I'd done an hour and a half, but we went on for 2 hours.
Nice.
In the end, and I've got my friends. One of them lives in Vancouver from my hometown, and then a couple who are up in Whistler in the mountains, and they all came down.
Sick.
So it was a bit like a full circle moment. I hadn't seen them for a while, and we definitely hadn't been out on a night out for years. So that was like it was a cool,
Lovely
cool
treat.
moment.
Nice. I'm doing Vancouver in 3 weeks, I think. First time as well.
Vancouver's a really cool city. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
very,
nice.
it feels very like ahead of the times. Like it's really clean, and you've got like a bit of everything going on there. Like they're man-made beaches, but you can go to the beach in Vancouver.
And is it the one that's got like an island or something as well?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so
they've got-
Vancouver Island's
Yeah.
like huge,
Yeah.
by the way. I think it's bigger than Britain. Don't quote me on that. It's massive though, apparently. Because I thought it was like a tiny little island and we could just like walk around it.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can't do that.
Mad.
It's massive.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful there, apparently. And the real estate is like really expensive, but I think it's supposed to be like stunning there.
I think again, don't quote me on this, but I think Vancouver might be home to like the most expensive square mile of real estate in the world. From the first time I went, like 8 years ago or 6 years ago, whenever it was, that I was told that, and at the time I really did understand why, because it's a beautiful city, and you got the mountains in the background, you got all the it's a very green city as well.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like when you're flying into Vancouver and then you see like the mountains surrounding and the water, and then there's just all these. There's so much money there. There's yachts everywhere, and you're just like, this place is just bonkers.
It's the last stop of my tour. I'm staying there for like 5 days. I think,
Oh,
so-
sick!
Really?
Oh, mate, yeah, you're in
'cause
for a treat.
I'm doing 3 shows and they're like bang back like 3 in a row. So
Yeah.
I'm, like, I'm not going to fly 9 hours for 3 days. So
No.
I was like, I'll stay in Vancouver for like 4 or 5 days. And
Mate, if you can get
that's a
yourself
good
up to
shout.
Whistler, do
Yeah.
it. If you like, go see the totem poles. You've
Yeah,
got to do
yeah.
it. Like, it's a gorgeous city to spend 5 days.
Canada's
Jealous.
just so cool, and the
Yeah,
people were just so sound.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
really are.
Canadians are
Yeah.
just absolute G's.
Yeah.
I've
What-
never met like a dickhead Canadian.
Nah. Well, I think like
Drake.
After everything that's going on,
Have you met-
Topical.
have you met
It's
him?
topical.
Have you
I haven't
met
met
him?
him,
No,
but Kendrick don't like him. I don't think we should like him
do you
either.
know what? I paid so little attention. I didn't even know he was Canadian.
Oh yeah, bro, he's from Toronto, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't give a shit about them. Man. Come on, bruv.
Yeah.
Is he doing UK deep
It's
hip
not
hop
that. It's
rap?
not Dabbler. You don't get
Yeah,
it.
come on, man.
Ridiculous.
I was waiting for him to do a
facts.
D&B track.
Well, it was on your D&D
Yeah.
bingo, wasn't it?
It was on the bingo card, but I think now he's probably going to have to focus more on getting a team of lawyers. So, so yeah,
And like coming back from whatever.
getting buried by Kendrick.
Yeah.
So,
Right, you
yeah.
could
Probably
always-
D&B's probably quite low down his list at the moment. Yeah.
Maybe you might look at that as a way to save him.
Yeah.
We're chasing status. Come on, let's go. Classic.
Amazing. Well, to be fair, so we did some like fan questions for the first time you were going to come. I found them and put them back in the document today, so I can remember to ask them. And actually, someone was asking in January about you doing a North America tour. It was Emil's 15. He's done it. If you weren't there, you missed it, basically.
Yeah, I was supposed to go before, but my my visa took so long to sort out, and the days were like to when we had to go were fast approaching.
How
and
long, can I ask how long it took? Because we've just submitted ours.
A long time, mate. Like we started the process in like June, and I was due to go out in when was it? I think October,
Okay.
and I didn't get it until just December, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Hopefully it doesn't take that long.
It was literally
That
because I was waiting
is
to get my passport back with it
Yeah.
stamped with
Yeah.
the visa and that, and yeah, it just didn't come that morning. So then we had to just say like we can't get out there because we're waiting for the visa.
All right, US Embassy, if you're listening, yeah, when you
Sure
see,
they're
when you see
listening.
Minor
Looks
Tom's
up, looks
application, just push that through, innit? Push that through. Mad. So this is the first time you've been on. So we normally like to do a bit of like a deep dive, I guess, into our guests, like entry into music and kind of how they got into DJing and producing and kind of, yeah, just the kind of the backstory really. So I guess let's go right to the start. Like, what was your kind of trigger point to like start making music? Or I guess, yeah. What was your kind of musical like story growing up? Like, what were you into?
Well, drum and bass, like that was
Yeah.
my first love. That was
Okay.
what I fell in love with, and we used to hang out at mine quite a lot. And I had like this little reloop MIDI controller, so my mates would come around mine, and then we'd sort of take turns mixing. But I loved it a lot, so I'd always like be on it most of the time.
Was this on Virtual DJ by any chance?
No, I did have Virtual DJ.
Yeah.
That was the first one I ever played around with.
Yeah.
It was with Tractor,
Okay.
and that was kind of like the start of it. But then I started getting all right at it, and then I was like, well, maybe I could actually do this properly. But then I was like, yeah, but if you're going to do that, you need to make your own tunes. Because it was at that point where it's like to get booked as just a DJ was fast becoming a thing of the past because of the fact that a lot of producers were starting to get booked instead of. So you could be like a sick selector, like an amazing fucking DJ, but they were just kind of getting pushed aside because of a producer who probably wouldn't do as good a set, nowhere near as good a set.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, you know, I tried to like learn, and the first door I downloaded was Reason.
Ah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Another reason.
what a fucking
another
head scrambler of a door. like press tab to flip the rack. I was like, flip the what? Fuck all these
Why am I
wires.
connecting wires? Yeah.
Yeah. So that
yeah.
fucking that scared me off for a bit, man. And then kind of, well, I'll just stick to DJing, and then no, I had another go and downloaded Logic, and that was a lot more approachable.
Yeah.
And now I use Ableton.
Welcome.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't really. I thought it was more like an ambition, like that. That would be cool, but it just never seemed like reachable because it's just, you know, how is that going to happen?
Yeah.
So I kind of just focused more on like I'll keep doing it as a hobby, and you know, if something happens, it happens. But when I was at uni, I was very much sort of learning more about the business side of putting on events and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you ran it was like a stage building company
Yeah,
or
so
something, was it?
when I finished uni, I took a week away just to figure out what I was going to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew that I didn't want to work for someone else. So I spoke to a friend of mine who he's a tradie, and he had certain skills that I definitely don't have, and vice versa. So we decided that we were going to create eccentric events, which is what we did, and we built art installations and did stage design for festivals.
Nice.
To essentially try and make festivals just a bit cooler. Like, you know, Boomtowns were like popping, and you had sort of other festivals that had massive lineups, but like the thought of stage design and the pathways to those stages were just like there was nothing there.
Yeah.
It was just
Like an
10
afterthought.
speakers. Yeah, exactly. So that's where we would come in and pitch them a deck of like, all right, well, we can do it. What's your budget? Like, this is what we can offer. And we did that for 2 years, but yeah, COVID happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll kill a business like that pretty quickly.
But that was basically the turning point of like, well, I've lost the business, so and I can't go out, so I'm going to do music all day, every day. And that was kind of the start of I'm actually going to really try and create something out of this and go for it. Because we had like all the time, you know, we couldn't do anything. So yeah, I guess that was like the starting point.
And at that point, I guess, when you start with, so obviously you downloaded Logic and you were producing before the stage building thing happened. Had you released any music at that point, or was it just kind of, again, just doing it for fun?
Like I did. So in our third year, like we had to, for like our major projects, either create a label, put an event on. So I did that. I started a label, and I was living in Manchester before I moved to Leeds.
Yeah.
And when I lived in Manny, the group of mates that I had were very much into like house and tech. So that was the first time that I actually stepped in another realm of electronic music and gave it a go, so to speak. But I actually really liked it. I thought it was a nice change of vibe. Like, I've been going to drum and bass raves for quite a long time, and a lot of them were jump up as well. So some of them were quite like pretty, you know, certain ones were a bit like edgy. But and then you go to like a house rave, everyone's just like hugging and, you know, all loved up, and you're like, oh, this is
different.
It's a bit different, isn't it?
I don't feel scared right now.
Yeah, it's all right. But did that, and then it's like I've started the label thing, and I was still like trying to sort of learn production, but again, not taking it that seriously because it just seemed too far out of reach. But when I left uni, I was in a duo at that time, and we were mates, but it didn't quite work out. So he went his way, And then I was kind of to square root one again because he was a singer, and there's definitely less singers than there are probably producers. You know, we just in the process of getting management, and they wanted me to come to London, and it was a good management company. It's Wiley's management company. He's not with them anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, that was a really big like a turning point of fucking hell, like this could actually happen here. And we had so much music because we were just grafting. Like I'd finish uni, he would finish his job on Sofa, and he'd come to mine from like 7 o'clock. We'd be up till 4 or 5 in the morning making tunes every day because we were loving what we were doing. So we weren't really fussed about the lack of sleep. We had a lot of tunes, and when we put out our EP, you know, didn't really do anything major on Spotify, but we had an arsenal of tunes because we've been making every day. And when an A&R heard it at Warner Chapel, then invited us down, that was like the first sort of fucking hell, someone's taking interest in what we're doing. And then that quickly led to Wiley hearing it and then him recommending it to his manager. And then that was the start of come to London. You need to be in London if you're going to do sessions. You can't be in Leeds, so you need to move your life here. I said, well, I can't afford to live here. He said, well, we'll pay your rent and get you on your feet. I was like, fucking hell. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, I went back to Leeds, packed up my fucking shit and headed down to London to do this thing. But, it wasn't meant to be. And he went his way. And then I kind of went back to the drawing board of like, all right, well, what am I going to do? I was only with my girlfriend who I'm with now. We were only together for like a few months, and I was living with her because she was like, you can stay with me until you figure out what you want to do. I mean, we lost the business obviously, and she said just stay here and just make tunes, and that was really cool because shortly after my mum passed away, so it was like these two catalyst things that happened, and it was just like fucking hell, I've lost my business, I lost my mate, lost my mum, this is shit, but I've got this girl here who's willing to support me, and she'd come in after work and be like, what have you made today? And I'd be like, have a listen, what do you reckon? My confidence was so low that she was the person who actually made me be able to believe in myself again and actually pick myself back up and really go for it, And I'm so lucky because we're in a position now where we can work together. We do music together now, which is great.
That's
she got to come with me on the Australia tour, which was fucking amazing.
That's an incredible story, man. Yeah, actually, yeah. I think I knew some of that, but I didn't know the the kind of full extent. That's having someone that's such a strong support network there is. Yeah,
man. I mean, we both love music. Like, she's a house girl. I was a drum and bass guy, and we both love electronic music, and we still like to go to raves today, albeit probably less drum and bass raves because we're always in that environment.
Yeah.
It's like it's not as compelling now to. You know how it is when you'd see a fucking lineup that makes a lot of sense. You'd be like, I'm going to that, but I don't really get that feeling as much now because I'm in that environment all the time. So for us now to get that sort of rave experience, like we like to, if we're in Ibiza, we'll go and see people that we don't normally see.
You got to have like a detox from it as well to a certain extent. Like, you're super busy and you clearly put your all into it, and it's like you got to recharge at some point. Otherwise, it's just take, and there'll be nothing left. So like, it's good to like take that and recharge your batteries, and then at the end of the day, it makes you more motivated to get back on the music.
100%.
I don't, you go out to raves still. If I lived in London, I'd probably go to a lot more raves.
I think the only raves I really go to is like if it's a mate, basically. Yeah, if it's a mate doing a show, then I'll go. But yeah,
I think when we were in London and lived together, we were still going to a lot more. But like since I've had a kid and like moved out of London, it's just like the last thing I'm doing with like my weekend off is like, oh, like what sick rave can I go to? I'm like almost a 4-year-old man now. I'm chilling out.
Yeah. No, I hear that completely, man. Like I get excited about when I'm driving home. I'm like, fucking hell, I'm only an hour away, and then I can lie on my beanbag with my dog and just chill out. You know what I mean? And catch up with the missus. Like I say, I got back 2 weeks ago. I've barely seen Emily because I'll be getting in at 10:30 from London. She's already in bed, and then I'm back out in the morning going back to London. So I've not really seen her, but it's good because we can acknowledge that and be like, right, well, we're going to have this time. This is our day now.
Yeah.
And we're going to turn the phones off. Nothing's that urgent. Yeah. Like, because if we I probably fell into that trap but they need it now. They need it now, so I've got to send it now. And I've been making myself mentally drained trying to fulfill everyone's urgency. But nothing's that important where they can't wait 24 hours.
The thing is, though, don't you think that, to me, just like, obviously I know your background story a little bit, but not that much, but from just listening to what you were saying then, it seems like that's actually the key to your success, is the fact that you were fucking on it.
Yeah.
And actually, there's probably a message to a lot of people is you do need to work that hard, really.
You do need to work that hard. I mean, I wouldn't say like, you know, don't get comfortable, but it's like what you just said as well. Like, you also need that time to recharge. You know,
100%.
I literally got a message from my sister earlier today, sent me a meme saying, if you don't listen to your body, telling you to take a rest, it will take a rest for you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really important because
Found out the hard way.
Yeah, that must resonate quite a lot.
big
You
time.
can't push yourself to your maximum capability if you're if you're burnt out.
Yeah.
Like, so you need to, first and foremost, you need to make sure that like you're mentally and physically like looking after yourself so that you can push yourself to the absolute max of your ability, not the maximum of your no, not capability. You know what I mean? Not overdoing it. You're not pushing. You're not crossing the line. You're not overdoing it. Like, but you can go to the max and teeter on the edge.
Yeah.
You can, man, definitely. You do need to listen to your body, though. Like, I know that I'm not as fresh as I normally am, and I'm aware that I'm going to America in 2 weeks, and there's no time to chill now. I had my chill day today.
Now we dragged you down into a podcast.
No, but I've been excited about this podcast. But it was nice because I woke up in bed and I didn't have to get up. I was just like, I can just lay here for a few hours and watch all the Clarkson's farm. Like, it was fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you do need to listen to your body, man. And like, I try, like, it's a cliche to say you are what you eat, but when you're on the road and you're eating shit food, you start to feel shit.
Yeah.
So I'm quite like, I try to be quite, I'm not like super healthy, but I do try to take that side of it quite seriously because I can feel it. Like when I'm eating shit and not staying hydrated and that, I'm slowing down and I feel tired and lethargic. So gym, healthy food, trying to eat right, it's part of it, I would say.
I think that's really the key to longevity, man. I remember years ago, I was at hospitality in Brixton, I think it was. I think you were there as well.
Probably.
I was chatting to Newtone, one of the Gresham brothers, and I saw him drinking an orange juice, and I was like 24. I was like, "Oh, why are you not drinking your rider, mate?" He was like, "You want to be doing this when you're my age, then."
Yeah.
Definitely sounds like a new tone.
I feel like it might have been a Dan Newtone thing.
Uncle Dan, isn't it?
Yeah,
always
Uncle
looking
Dan,
out for
mate,
everybody.
And actually, I remember.
He actually does, man.
No, he does.
Yeah.
He is.
No, he
He's
probably does.
I
what
can't
a
big up
legend.
that
How long
guy
he's been
enough.
about,
Yeah.
and he's like pinned, like he's been up there, like rated by everyone for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's
Smashing
done
it.
the busy
Hospital
tours.
A&R.
Like,
We should get him on, actually.
yeah.
But yeah, I literally always remember that one bit of advice he gave me. Like, didn't take heed to it like till about 7 years later. Don't get me wrong, my 20s were, it was a
You'd
good.
almost die.
Yeah, till almost died, but like now, cheers, Dan. It's good advice.
Shout out
man.
I guess
That new
everyone
tone.
sort of finds their like own way there, but like it's quite nice to have a platform where people can come and speak about it,
Yeah.
because like I definitely wasn't doing that, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why mediocre level of achievement has been consistent throughout, because I spent my life living for the rave and getting mash up and being like, this is sick. I'm like living my dream like early on and just, you know, doing underground drum and bass shows, which was what I wanted to do anyway, but like sort of like smashing it, like literally getting smashed, being like, oh my God, like way too excitable. And actually as a result, probably, you know, the actual like productivity in studio and with like music and making stuff and writing bars could have been higher as a result, I
It's
guess.
it's like an easy thing to conflate, like the whole like living the dream thing is not actually the party, it's actually like doing the music side. But it's I guess when it's just easy to get caught up in it, basically. Like when you're actually getting flown across the world to do all this cool stuff, and you like, you know, people are offering you X, Y, and Z, and you can party. That feels like the bit like, oh yeah, I've done it, like I'm here now. But actually, yeah, that's just like a byproduct, I guess. So yeah.
I think it's like, I mean, a lot of people in this industry, they are quite excitable. Like we are excitable people. And when there's energy in the air, we reciprocate to that.
Yeah.
And it definitely is hard sometimes to walk away and go to your hotel room and just be like, I want to stay out, but I'm going because I know I'm going to regret it in the morning. But even now, it's still hard. It is hard to walk away and from the fun. Let's say, you know, but it's like that longevity thing. You know, you said about having a flight, right? I mean, you had that panic attack.
Yeah.
I've had the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where I stayed out late and then I was hungover and I was sat in the middle of this plane. I was sweating. I hate sitting in the middle. I don't like flying that much anyway. But being in the middle and hungover, it just it felt like the longest flight.
Yeah.
You know,
It actually made you that actually makes you hate traveling more as well. Like the state you put yourself in the next day after playing a show abroad somewhere. Like, why have I done this, man? I mean, I've got to sit on this metal box for like 6 hours. And literally, there's no escape. I just can't breathe. Yeah, it's horrible, man.
There's nothing worse than like
one
being
too
in
many
some-
of them will make you never want to party hard again. Innit?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really stop me. Like, I did it with Wilkinson for like 2 years, man. I'd be there like on the plane, having not been to bed, being like in some booky like Eastern European airport that's like tiny, getting on a plane, being like, what have I done? And then next weekend I'd be doing exactly the same thing. I just never learned from my mistakes, and I think a lot of people don't. Like, you get in that routine, it's like, I just honestly, that excitement of getting on a plane and going to a gig and then being like, I'm going to have some drinks with my friends and go party with some people I've never met before was just way too much of a lure for me. For years, I was just like, every single time the next day I would be there being like, what have I done? But I would also be like, I'm going to smash this. I'm going to get home and I'm going to survive. And like, I would. And there'd be like some sort of weird crackheady satisfaction out of that.
I call it the sesh gremlin. That's that little that naughty voice, you know. Stay out.
I think it's okay to listen to the gremlin, but every now and then it's about picking and choosing your battles. I think.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
actually what it
moderation,
is.
isn't it? Like, I mean, there's no
100%.
denying. Like, I have had some late nights where you've just been up drinking and just feel like crap the next day, but yeah, as you get older, I'm happy to just be like, I will have one of those every 6 months. Like, not every weekend, no chance. Not even once a month. Like,
now it's just a different ball game.
Yeah,
I literally didn't drink for the last 3 months. So my first second drink was at Tom's
the wedding.
Yeah, like I'm on like a mad one now. I just have like time off. It's like I've got a good balance. I'm just saying, I wish I'd kind of got there maybe when I hit like 32, 33 rather than like 36, 37.
COVID was a good catalyst for me.
COVID was
Forced me into it.
Well,
Well, we were let's talk about that for you. But
Dark
times.
It's a good thing to talk about though, because I mean, especially in
Yeah.
rave culture, there are drugs everywhere, and the aftermath of that. I mean, you said about like obviously, you know, just still like doing it and that, but was there like a point where like the aftermath started to really not get a hold of kind of get a hold of you a little bit and make you sort of feel like, do I want to keep doing it?
100% yes, but I'd say my addictive personality with certain things meant that it just didn't matter. Until my daughter was born, that's when things started to change for me.
So,
and honestly, literally like life-saving tonic.
Yeah.
Like, quite potentially, who knows, but like
I guess
changed
that's
my life.
where I was like intrigued to learn what was it that did that for you. You know, what was that sort of catalyst turning point where you're like, oh, okay, don't want to do it anymore.
It would have been
Yeah,
interesting to know what it would have been had I not had a kid.
Yeah.
Because genuinely, that's the game changer.
I mean, you
kids change your life.
You had your
in
child.
more ways than one.
Yeah, I
John,
was
you
in
had
hospital
your
for like
health.
12 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty big turning point for me.
There's quite a lot of our
fucking-
group like that are in the same place now.
Yeah.
And I think not only was because we're all in our little sort of group of people, friends, close friends and stuff that we see regularly. We're all of a similar age. By you, Rich, you argue it.
Oh,
Love you,
Jack's friendly. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Over it today.
I don't think I've ever
over
heard
it.
that before.
But then also, all of us used to tour together so much more often than we do nowadays, and I think that's a big factor. Like,
Yeah,
if I
we're
turn
not
up
egging
to
each
a
other on
show
as much,
and I'm like,
yeah.
there's maybe one person I know quite well here, I'll have a couple of drinks, but it's very easy to just be like, well, that was a nice evening, let's go to bed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're there with like 6 man or even 10, 15 plus man on a lineup, it's very easy to just go, all right, we're all here, let's all have a good merry, and it's easier to slip into that. But I think finding ourselves playing a little bit less often on the same lineups, I think that may have been a catalyst as well. That would have probably been one for me because I wouldn't have seen my mates as much. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't have
no,
much of
I
a
hear that. I hear
reason to party.
You're sober, aren't you, John?
Yeah.
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 How long you been sober now?
Like 16 months.
Have
or
you
something.
really?
Or like 7. I actually should probably write the date down when I had my last drink. But I think I did in one of my calendars, but it's over a year. Like getting on to a year and a half.
Are you looking to stay forever? So
I think I probably have to be honest.
Do you reckon? Well, really?
The doctor told you basically you had to.
Yeah, like
You kind of got, but you had a couple drinks, then you post
like,
it.
So like, what it is like I could probably have like a glass of wine with dinner now, but because
Again, moderation.
It's
It's
just
not
like-
worth it, man.
you don't
only got
yeah,
one
take liberties with it.
pancreas.
Yeah.
and also it's just like it's not in my nature to have one drink. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like,
I
I'm just
didn't
gonna
realise
go-
it was health related.
Yeah. So I just had this. I spoke about it before. I had this like mad pancreas like failure basically, which was caused by like a gallstone. But obviously your pancreas is like key to like processing alcohol as well. So if it's damaged, you basically just shouldn't drink. So
Yeah.
that's basically me now. But to be honest, once I'd done the like last summer was the first like festival season I'd done sober. I'd done some mates' weddings sober. Like I'd done a bunch of things that normally you'd be getting smashed at.
Yeah.
Sober. So once you've done it once,
Yeah.
kind of all right. Like
I mean, I spent 9 months last year sober, and
Yeah.
like you say, it's the first wedding, the first time going Ibiza, the first time, just all these firsts was quite unsettling. But I think once you do the conquer, the wedding was hard.
yeah, they're the hardest
was
ones,
hard.
man.
But you're right though, and it's like once you get past them first 2 or 3, it actually becomes second nature. And then when I went back to drinking recently, I'm actually sort of like it's like disappointed. There's like this thing of like, oh, I really actually could keep going because you find it. I do actually find it pretty easy. Like MCing wise, I'm a better MC. in
This is
that
the other thing as
situation
well.
anyway.
Like DJ and performing sober is actually so much better, man.
Yeah, it is. Well, you're just too heavy-handed. with
Yeah.
the controls when you've had a drink, aren't you?
15
Just like,
reloads. Like, yeah.
Really enthusiastic by the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. I think that like trigger point now is actually I am now like, you know, daughter aside, because obviously that's like fine. That situation, I'm like, I know I'm not going to go nuts. But even like a hangover, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to feel this tomorrow. Like I'm probably like old now. Like, it's just like-
yeah, I get that. I mean, you just sometimes as well. I mean, like I went to the pub on Friday. It was the first time I've seen friends in quite a while. So, and I only had 4 drinks. And I felt that the next day.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I can't drink like I used to.
I'm still
And I'll be
hungover.
warming up on 4. You know?
The thing is, when you get out of the routine, it happens, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was a seasoned professional. Like I could go and for like days. Like, and when you've got that like in you, your body like gets almost used to it, man. It's like you've trained it to do that. So
yeah,
when you're
100%.
not doing it, it's like you do feel it more. And I think that's actually the catalyst that anyone who's listening to this that's sort of on that, you know, I can hammer it for a couple of days, all the drugs in the world, all the booze. So actually, if you do start to ease yourself off it, it then affects you more, which makes you realise that
Mate,
how
I'm
much
literally
worse
still
it is
hungover
for
from
you.
Saturday. It's now Monday night. I'm still hungover from
That's
Saturday from the
mental.
stag do. Like,
It's age
That
is
is
a
a
factor
stag
as
do
well.
as
though.
well.
yeah, oh
to
yeah,
be
age is
fair.
absolutely.
Age is dead because when you're 20,
I'm nearly as
when you're
old
23,
as
that
Rich.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
We were mid 30s and we were going some, bro.
Oh, you
Come
were
on.
mid 30s.
All right, bro.
I'm not mid 30s now.
How much younger than me are you?
I'm 32, bro.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not like,
6 years.
man's trying to drag me down like mid 30s. I was like,
All
what?
right, well, I was mid 30s, still
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, from that perspective,
I'm in my 20s
it's
still,
either
bro.
worrying or impressive, depending
Yeah.
on which way you want to look at it.
Yeah, to be honest, there's 2 things. It's like the physical thing, but it's the mental thing for me as well.
Yeah.
Like, on a Wednesday, just feeling so sad.
Yeah.
Like, just because of something you did on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not the one, man. And like for productivity, being creative, all that stuff, it's just really detrimental.
No, I couldn't agree more, man. Like I went, you know, I was speaking to someone for quite a while about it, and it having the time off from it, you know, I realised I've been drinking since I was 14, you know, and I haven't stopped, and that was quite a bit of a light bulb moment. The fact that with the first ever tour getting booked, like all these things made you sort of look in the mirror a little bit and think, fucking hell, well, when are you going to maybe just have a break from having a drink? You know, don't get me wrong, I'm drinking every day or anything
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
but like, you know, it does make you think, I've never actually been sober doing a set. So I need to do that. And speaking about it and also having that time, it resets your mind in a really good way, because when I was drinking to a point where it's like regularly, you're just anxious and edgy and just a bit like, and also the imposter syndrome, like that gets even worse. Like it's not really a fun drug. I don't really know why we do it, to be honest.
It's especially
We
in the
don't
UK.
remember anything
drugs.
from the night as well. Like,
Yeah.
I know I had fun, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah, it's definitely like a thing in the UK as well about how we treat alcohol as well compared to like other countries.
We're
I think
terrible with
it's
it, aren't we,
different as
really?
well. Like it's definitely more of like a social lubricant here. I'd say like
Yeah, it's
people are
part
quite
of their
anxious
culture,
here.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like a social
I
anxiety
think,
thing.
especially for dudes, man. Like you think about like if I think when I was like up until like 35 and I wanted to go link my mate. What am I going to link him for other than going for a beer?
Yeah,
like
it's
literally,
true.
I've got no.
And even if you're doing something else, like going to
reason.
the cinema, you're still going for a beer afterwards.
100.
Yeah.
Going to go driving range. Oh, let's go Top Golf. We're going to have a beer.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
like any excuse to have a beer.
You notice it like a lot more as well. Like I remember walking around the supermarket at Christmas and just realizing how much alcohol was being advertised, and not only that, how cheap it was compared to the rest of the year. It's like I get like 3 crates here for 20 quid.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can never get that like throughout the year unless it's Christmas.
Yeah, it's like the promotion of the culture here is, I guess, well, it does make money, right? It's taxed really heavily, so I guess there's a.
So well, weed could make money as well, but
Yeah.
we haven't legalized that, have we?
No, and it's still nuts that we haven't.
Old-fashioned belly is
America's
running this
absolutely
country.
killing it.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you loved it over there on that regard,
I
didn't you?
did, yeah, because it just helped with the jet lag.
Yep.
Like, I know, like I'll be wide awake, but it's like 1 in the mornings,
And
or
you could just smash
you know,
out a little
late. Yeah, go get a fucking nighttime edible and have that, and then boom.
Nighttime
You're all right.
edible.
Well, yeah, because you can go in there and it's
John's
like,
packed up.
I must have been like when the first dispensary I went in was in Vancouver, and I must have been a salesperson's dream because I walked in there, I was like, wow. It's like an Apple store in here. And she's like, oh, step right up, sir. What can I get you? I was like, well, I don't know, really. What you got? Like, everything. I was like, wow. Give it to me.
I was going to say, they're like that in every dispensary you ever go into.
Yeah.
But that's because everyone I ever go into, I have that exact same reaction every single time. Like, even like the 30th trip, I'm still like, oh my God. It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, mate.
Yeah, we're
But for
starving
bud.
out here, man.
It is cool though, because like you know what I was saying about those beaches, like the man-made beaches over in Vancouver, and their culture there. Like everyone's finishing work. You've got people in the bars who want to drink, and then you've got people on the beach smoking weed.
Yeah.
It's a really cool transparency between the two. You know, and the sun in Vancouver, the sun sets where that beach is, so it's just perfect.
Yeah.
A really cool way to like end the day after work. But yeah, it's a shame we haven't done it here. I really feel like we're missing out on
I think the next general election can change that, though. To be honest,
Yeah.
I do think.
Fingers crossed. It's a
yeah.
really fascinating social shift because it's obviously not just happened in Canada and America.
Happened in Berlin now
Obviously,
as well,
over
right?
a long time
Yeah.
it has now, like up to
Yeah.
10 years in some of those places. But yeah, Spain, Portugal, Germany, like they've all got Thailand as well. I think.
Thailand of all places.
Yeah, Vietnam, I think, as well. I
Yeah,
might be getting
Thailand,
that
Vietnam.
wrong.
Thailand,
But,
I
like,
get fucking
Yeah.
nicked for like years.
yeah,
man.
mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's everywhere, and it's really interesting seeing how this social shift is changing around the world. But yet, seemingly across a large chunk of our population, nothing's changed in their eyes, which is it's interesting.
No one's dying off it, are they? Like that's the whole point. Like surely.
So isn't Theresa May's husband like a massive
Yeah.
exporter of weed?
Yeah. I think
It's
he-
like mad like
No,
that.
we're
He's
the
like a
number
leading-
one. Like, aren't we like the number
Yeah.
one medicinal like supplier?
So
like,
I think the
grower of,
UK
like,
for a
weed?
good 2 or 3 decades has been the largest grower and exporter of cannabis in Europe. And I think one of the biggest reasons why no one's legalizing it is because Theresa May's husband, being one of them, and many other MPs are shareholders in this monopoly that they have full control over and all the money.
about right, doesn't
So
it?
they're not going to ever let us.
Welcome to the
they're
Amen
not
Brother
gonna let-
Conspiracy Podcast.
I'm fairly certain this isn't a conspiracy theory. I'm
Nah,
pretty
it's not.
certain
I think that is
James
actually true.
O'Brien, LBC, was repping some of this
They're
knowledge the other
basically
day.
lobbying against it because
Because
they've
they've got the
fingers
monopoly,
in
yeah.
pies of the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
industry that will suffer at the
Yeah,
hands.
they
of
don't want
these
you
guys.
being
I think
able
that's
to
a
get
story of a
bit
lot of
that
policy
pie.
making in the UK.
Oh, fully,
generally.
yeah.
100%, man. These dickheads.
Yep.
Fucking pricks.
If you ever wonder which way we vote, I don't think it's. Yeah.
That would probably be reassuring for most people, though, to know.
I
Yeah.
think it's just safer as well, if I'm honest, because when you're buying weed off the street or black market, whatever you want to say, you are buying a strain of weed that you don't actually know what that strain
Yep.
of weed is, and different strains affect people very differently. There are certain strains that if I smoke it, I don't really enjoy it, you know, and how am I to know what I'm smoking unless it's legitimized?
Yeah.
like regulated.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, for me, it just feels like the way forward. They're making bank off it, and they're putting that money back into the community, new schools, new community centres. Like where I'm from in Kettering, like our place is really struggling at the moment. Like all of our shop doors are just boarded up. It's just a bit bleak. We've lost a lot of like community-based things, like the youth club's gone. We lost our football ground. There isn't that much left. Like we have a bowling alley and the Odeon Cinema, and that's pretty much. And a Nando's.
Every town in the UK has got a bowling alley and an Odeon Cinema, hasn't it?
Yeah,
That's just like
we've got,
a
we've got loads of phone shops and charity shops.
And a Costa Coffee. They've always got a Costa Coffee.
Bowling alley is
We
what it's
have
called,
loads of
Hollywood
those.
Bowl.
Oh, mate,
Yeah.
I hate it. They put on their doors, it's like, the nation's most popular coffee. Only because there's one on every street corner.
It's because you monopolise the coffee industry.
Yeah, they're literally
Costa.
everywhere. Sometimes you
You've got
don't have a
beef with
choice.
Costa?
I hate
I
Costa.
remember
It is the most
Costa.
disgusting, vile excuse for coffee ever. How dare they? It's
What's
inappropriate.
better? It's better than Starbucks.
Nah,
man.
Pret's better.
Do you know what? I would
Pret's all right.
still take a Starbucks over a Pret. Yeah, I'd take a Starbucks over a
We
Pret.
spoke about this.
No,
last
I'd take a
time. We don't do
Starbucks. Sorry, no,
Starbucks
not a
anymore.
Pret, over a Costa. I'd take a
We don't do
Starbucks.
Starbucks anymore.
Nah,
Oh no, we don't do
you can't
Starbucks. We
anymore,
don't do
mate.
Starbucks.
Yeah, you
Or
can't anymore.
Costa. Because they're shit.
I will say though, big up Pret though, yeah, because they have this thing where every employee is allowed to give away one free coffee a day.
Oh,
Do you know about
really?
this? Yeah, so every employee has they can give one free coffee a day. And I used to go, like, at my old job, I used to commute out of London. I used to go to the Pret in Victoria Station like 3 times a week. And when one woman was working there, she used to give me a free coffee every single time. And it's like a part of their thing. Yeah.
Did she give? Yeah, did
don't
she
think so.
explain that to you, or that was the store policy or company policy, or
nah,
did
but
you just make
you
this
just lied
connection?
to her.
My mate
Are you
used to pick
sure
me
she
up.
wasn't just buttering you up, John?
Yeah.
Maybe, but my mate used to pick me up afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, I've got a free coffee." He was like, "Yeah," he told me it's a thing. And I googled it. It's a thing, like Pret giveaway.
it is?
Maybe
Yeah.
she was trying to chirp you, and he was just trying to cock block you. He was just like,
Nah,
"Nah,
to be
man,
honest, I
I've got to
think-
bring this guy down
You
a
know what
notch."
I think it is? I think it's actually could be deeper than that. I think the
Oh my
reason they
God.
do it is because actually, like, if a homeless person
Yes,
comes in,
yeah, and she's
they
wasting that
can
on
be
you.
like, "Here's a free coffee." So maybe she just saw me at 6 in the morning. And it's just like,
Which is like this guy
this
looks
guy
a
needs
steak.
help. Yeah, this guy needs
Yeah,
help.
you're like
Do you want a hot drink, mate?
You're all homeless.
You know what I mean? Like, no comment. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, one or the other. She either felt bad for me or she was trying to chat. So one or the other. Taking it back to music though.
Yeah, fuck it out.
Good transition. So obviously the style of music you make is very like melodic. I would say generally it's music based. Like
Yeah.
And,
Music-based music's good.
No, but you know what I mean.
It tends to be a good
Well,
thing,
yeah,
innit?
because like look at like minimal D&B for example. That's not music based, is it? That's
Yeah,
like
I see what you mean, yeah.
Sub based and like bass design, sound design based.
Yeah.
Was this like are you like a musician? Where did that come from? The whole love for like the
No.
melodic side of things.
No, I'm not a musician. Not like classically trained or anything like that. I play a little bit of keys, and during lockdown I'd pick up the guitar a little bit. But no, not really. Like I don't know. Like I one of the things that I'm actively doing is getting all hands on the piano at the moment, because I enjoy when you do get a chord progression and it lands and it's just satisfying. It could take a while to learn it.
But it takes me so long.
Yeah, but it's just that's what I mean about the sense of satisfaction. Like the longer it takes, and when you do get it, you're like,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless you're like Harry Bryson, who's just
Yeah, the man's a
Well,
wizard.
unless you're Harry Bryson,
it's so
just know
annoying.
every single chord.
It's
that
so
they make.
annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying. Yeah. Yeah, so like, because obviously you were saying you were going to like jump up raves and stuff. So like, where was that transition then from like kind of going to jump up rave? Did you try and make jump up at any point?
No, not really. The whole sound design thing of playing around with Serum just didn't excite me.
Yeah.
I just found it just I was too impatient, I guess. But no, the jump up thing, that was just like my first introduction to drum and bass, and you know, from a 16-year-old lad getting into raves, I've got a lot of energy to give, so I'll be there till 6 a.m. And
Yeah.
used to go down Roadbender in Northampton a lot for random concept events, and that was like the sort of initial sort of introduction. And then it was I really fell in love with like Logistics and High Contrast. They were sort of like the first two Liquid people that I really enjoyed. And then we would go up to Nottingham or Birmingham and go to some hospital raves up there. So that's probably where like the transition of where I started appreciating the more melodic stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I never really tried to make it as such. But I'm well aware, obviously, we're all aware of like how Jump Up is now and how massive it has become. And it is satisfying when you play a tune and you get a bit of that grit from people. I'm trying to sort of experiment and you know, have the melodies and the grit, but it's you know, it can be a tougher one to crack.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Interesting. You're trying to like try and find the balance to
Make
it your own unique sort of style. And
yeah, like I think like, you know, you can have like a beautiful intro and then when it gets to that sort of pre-build area, that's where you can start adding the tension of, okay, we're going into a slightly different realm now.
You're reminding me of there's a lot of tracks like from like way back, like not Jump Up tracks, but like some jungle. I'd say like some like just like deep underground, like very early drum and bass that had like really like long intros. I know we were talking about this like last time. That would be like a really like nice melodic intro. This is what you were like reminding me of, and then like the drop would be just a complete switch.
Yeah.
I actually kind of missed that a bit.
Well, I guess
Like,
Break does that, doesn't he?
That's
He's
a good
probably the one guy I was
example.
thinking of. You like when you were saying that, I was like, who does that really well? Like kind of super musical, but then like heavy break is basically his
yeah,
sound,
but like
doesn't it?
he always
this
has like a real nice
sonic,
like
ridiculous.
PO or like a good like vocalist, and it's super melodic actually. Yeah, like it really
Like
is.
his
And then-
understanding of music is like
Bang.
high level. Yeah,
Euphoric.
Yeah, he's
Euphoric
techie with
vibes,
it.
isn't
He's techie with it.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool, man. Yeah, I mean that can definitely work. I guess what you're saying is like you got to try and find a way that it does work, and that might take some time. But I reckon people love that. It's the whole like jungle era, like the recent sort of resurgence of jungle. I think it takes a lot from that as well. It's like you have an intro that's like something that's quite, you know, melodic and quite spacey and, you know, doesn't seem like it's going that particular way, and then bang, it like drops into like a jungle tune.
Yeah.
I think the kids are up for anything these days as well, really. If it's as long as it hits. And
They definitely like, I mean, the way that it's seen, especially in the UK, they really love like the high octane stuff. I mean, I was thinking to myself just yesterday, like, I have a theory as to like why Jump Up is thriving so much at the moment, and my theory is that because it resonates so well on camera. We are promoting drum and bass at the moment through social media and digital marketing. And if you take a beautiful liquid tune, full crowd, and you film that moment versus full crowd, heavy Jump Up tune, new dub or whatever, on camera, it resonates stronger with
No,
the Jump Up.
100%. Yeah.
And I feel
point,
like
actually.
that is what has really taken it, because All Stars, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I saw, All Stars were the first people to utilise clips.
the drop clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
big
were the
time.
first people to really like, hang on a minute, no one's doing this, and they did it.
Yeah.
And you know they're huge now, right? But my question to people is, how do we do that with a liquid tune?
Yeah.
Do you know what's in
And I don't think anyone's quite cracked it yet.
the 3-minute reel?
Yeah, but
Come on, the 3-minute reel.
3-minute reel. But also, Rich, you and me were talking about in the infamous lost episode that we filmed last week.
Yeah.
That actually, that we did an infamous episode where we
£10 tier one, yeah.
we debriefed on the Vaults night that me and Harry did.
Yeah.
And one of the talking points that we had about why we wanted to do it was for exactly that reason. We think so much of why melody in music is missing, or in drum and bass specifically, it's not that it's missing, it's not that it's not getting the limelight at the moment, and we
Not
think
celebrated
that's
as much.
and we think that's because of the social media content leans more towards the reactive high energy stuff, right? So that floaty liquid, so our idea was, well, why don't we just get a load of people that really like floaty liquid in a room, and we'll get that content ourselves and prove to ourselves that it's not the music that's the problem, it's just the content being shared.
Yeah, the delivery method.
And for us, that proved our theory, and so it just means that we are never going to stop doing doing it the way we do it. Do you know what I mean? It's not made me go, oh god, this is a lost cause sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Was that in Brighton?
No, that was at Colours in
London,
London a
man.
couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So and they're definitely going to be doing some more of those. So yeah,
That
and
was
we're
all,
like,
yeah, I've seen that was all your own tunes as well.
yeah, and we asked the other artists on the lineup to come with that ethos. Obviously, we didn't say please try and play 100%, but we were like, that's what we're going to do. take from that however you will. Like you played a lot of your own stuff.
65, as I say,
64.
You let the team down, mate. Dude, you got a last minute call up.
Can I just
Yeah. To be fair,
I got asked the morning of that event to play.
Oh, right.
because
I had like about
You didn't
half
have
an hour.
time to prep an entire Galaxy
Yeah,
set,
so
bro.
what? Suddenly I haven't got time to put a whole set together.
Well,
But
so,
I still managed to play
Part-timer out
like
here.
60-70% all, which is the most I've ever played my own tunes in a set. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
no,
was actually-
ratings.
it was
And it
fun
was-
as well.
Ratings for even
and it was
getting
meant to
that
be Charlie Bricks, and she had a very, very similar thing where she was going to do almost 100% her own stuff. Sustance came down, and because again, these guys had months' notice, like we
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
and you had a day's notice. So that was absolutely, and I rate the fact that you still came and smashed it, mate, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But like that to me and Harry was like proof that it's not the music that needs to change. It's just how we need to adapt how we're promoting that music. That's all.
Yeah,
it is.
and I think that's the question that I want to ask people. Is that I was literally saying to Emily yesterday, I was like, I'm actually at the point where I might even just ask people.
Yeah,
and just
do it,
say
man.
to them like, what would you do?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I've really cracked it. I'm trying to figure out how to promote Liquid tracks in a way that's going to work.
Yeah.
And if I was making Jump Up, I feel like I could do that at this point in time. I feel like I'll be quite confident promoting a Jump Up tune. But Liquid, it is a different kettle of fish, and we just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
I feel
yeah.
like as well. Sorry, Rich.
No,
you go.
you go.
I was going to say, I feel like probably subconsciously, for at least me and Tom as well, part of the reason we've started making we just started sprinkling a few more club tunes in our projects. And I think part of the reason is for content. Because actually, like you said, like it's such a different thing, yeah. Like we know people really enjoy Liquid, but the reaction that you get to a Liquid tune in most raves, like obviously if you're at your Sun and Bases and places that are geared, and what Jack and Harry did, geared towards Liquid, it's gonna actually like pop off. But like most raves, people will enjoy it, but you're not going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like it does look really dead on camera. Like
It does.
looks dead.
It's
yeah.
not that it is either, because
Yeah.
we've all been on that dance floor in those moments.
Yeah,
and
it's like
just,
euphoric,
you're in a
isn't it?
sense of euphoria.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to fucking go ham.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're fucking just loving life and just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't translate on camera.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
It's really annoying.
Honestly, it's such an interesting point you've made here, and something that I think subconsciously I've been aware of, but not brought it to the forefront, because these 15-second clips, even if after a rave, and actually I'll give the MC perspective as I always like to do, just to annoy John. But like, if you think when you get that back for promo post, one thing I will rarely have anything that's of any benefit for me to post, because one, it will be 90% of them will be like drop clips.
Yeah.
If 100% of them will be drop clips, I'm not really going to MC on drops like regularly, probably more than quite a few host MCs, but still not regularly. So the content for me just isn't there. Videographers aren't, unless you sort of know them, like big up George, like you sort of like, oh bruv, can you get me like a couple like actually like spitting a bar from start to finish? Like honestly, I could count on my hand the amount of times that I've looked at those post rave and there's been a lyric that I've got from start to finish. I wouldn't get past 5. Like, and I've been doing this for a long time since these, drop clips have been a thing. And actually, it's a really frustrating. I hate them. I actually hate them.
Yeah.
You're making me realise why I hate them so much, and that is it. Because it's such.
Started him off now.
No, but not. It's not even from the MC perspective.
no, it's true,
It's
though.
just because it's such a small portion of that rave.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's like fueling that. You know, when we speak about how kids turn up and they're like, oh, just get a video of that tune. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm done. I'll go on to the next
Yeah.
guy, like, these big festivals and stuff. And that's actually what's fueling it. Because it's that moment that they're trying to capture.
Yeah.
And it's like, what you made me think now is, how do we convey, for the cliche, I'm sorry, but the journey of like a night or a tune or a euphoric moment through the media of the medium of social media, and how do we get kids buying into that? Like, because that actually is, you're asking the right questions for me, and that's actually like I'm here for it. Let's fucking go, because something's got to change.
Yeah.
And that doesn't interest me at all. And I know I'm not the raving demographic, But even probably part of the reason a lot of old Facebook junglists are going to less raves because they're just watching these fucking drop clips on social media and they're like, well, I ain't going to get a journey out of that, am I?
Well, but it could also have something to do with the fact that we are those old junglists now, or we're on the edge, like the precipice of. And ultimately, I think,
Thanks, mate.
like the kind of raves we're talking about, because they're the kind of raves that our generation like. That's the kind of rave that is not cool to an 18, 20-year-old raver.
Yeah.
And I think there are things that we would be able to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shoot that down, but I don't think it's like lost. As long as we maintain like what we're doing and the underground is like looked after and it's still there in a few years' time, eventually that will be cool. Like we know it's cool, but to these younger kids, the idea of going to a big, huge 20,000, that's not cool anymore. They want to go and hear an artist that none of their mates have heard of in a dark, dingy club and like have the most euphoric, like transcending moment ever.
Do you think that moment's coming, or you think that's happening now?
I think it's coming. I have no idea when.
I think it will.
I think
it has to.
one of the key things around
we
that.
speak about it every episode and we're like all clinging on hope. I just hope we're not hearing like 4 years time going,
like we all got into
coming.
this because we loved to go out with our mates partying, right? And we also liked the music. But then what kept us here for 15 plus years is because we loved the music. And it wasn't the mad, drugged up, boozy nights that made me fall in love with this music. It was maybe the room 3 in that same event that had the deep liquids. That it was stumbling into that room and going, wow, what is this? Like
Fabric room 3 back in the day.
And you know what? Maybe room 1s and 2s and 3s, room 2s and 3s
Clubs
need to
don't
come
really have
back.
multiple
No, I
rooms
know.
now, do
Like
they?
that's
That's
a
the
hard
problem,
thing.
innit? That is part of the problem.
The whole like
But diversity on lineup that
feeding,
could happen.
the whole feeding frenzy is basically what it is, because we're seeing people do the same things and the same quad drops and the same doubles and the same triples, and then people are seeing all that interaction that they're getting on social media and think, well, I want a fucking bit of that. So then they're doing it in their sets. And the frustrating thing about that is that it's diminishing creativity, because you're just doing what you just saw online. Like, make it your own, or just be original with it. And if it means that you're not going to get that high octane moment at the next rave, then so be it. But harness your craft and you'll get that moment. When I went to Australia and New Zealand, I was very much thinking about, I really am worried because I don't do what you're seeing on social media, which is those quad drops, switches, bang, bang, bang. I don't really do that. I like to play liquid and I like to play jump up. I like to play both. And when I went to Australia and New Zealand, it really reinstalled my faith in the whole community as a whole, because I wasn't doing that and they were fucking sending it.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? We're fine. We're fine. Don't fall for that trap of what you see on Instagram. It's cool, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
There is more to the scene than what's on a screen. Hey, that rhymes.
Yeah.
Take my job, mate. No, you're right. I said a similar thing when I came back, and I went there to do like a DJ MC tour and was like headlining it myself, which is like pretty outrageous for someone that's at my level. And honestly, it was everything I hoped it could have been.
Yeah.
I felt like I was accepted out there,
Yeah.
just doing, and I just did. I played like a classic liquid set in Auckland and just MC'd over it, and it was probably one of the most. It was the most emotional moment of my career.
It was amazing.
And it was insane, and it was like everyone stayed to the end. It like went off, and humble numbers, but that wasn't what it was about. It was just about a vibe of people being like, this MC's now DJing and playing like a bunch of classic tunes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was. Yeah, I think you're right. I think because over there, it's just a different ball game at the moment. I can't wait to go back out there. Like literally.
I think your night was like that as well, though. To be fair,
Ours.
the Volts night,
Yeah.
like the biggest reactions in my set were to liquid tunes.
Yeah.
But
Sick.
what you managed to do there was sorry, my voice. What you managed to do was find. Well, I guess your music already cultivates that crowd, right? But what I was going to say was all of these nights are about actually reaching the right people.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a night which is like going to be based around liquid, you need to somehow find the people that want to go to that night. Because I think you're right. Like looking at drop clips and stuff, attract a crowd that are into that kind of mix or that kind of mixing style or that kind of music. But obviously, if you're a producer and you've already got a fan base, it's all about how can you mobilize that fan base, I guess, and get them to actually come to an event. Because if you get the people that like your music in the room, it will go off, right? They'll love it.
Yeah.
I think the challenge maybe is at festivals where you've got kind of a mixed crowd of people that are just at the stage because you're on, versus people that actually have come to see you, and that's where maybe you might see that, you know, what you're doing doesn't necessarily resonate with the whole crowd. But I think for the specific examples like what you guys did, where you know 90% of the people that are there because they love what you do, then you have that kind of opportunity and freedom to do it.
It sounds like that night sound, and it looked as well.
It was
just
it
had
was
that
sick,
authenticity.
Man. You know what? The sound system was good as well. Don't underestimate how important that. Like,
Oh yeah.
the
100.
sound system being good and people being able to hear the music properly.
Yeah.
What they got in colours?
Was it Function One?
I think so.
Whatever it was,
I can't remember. It sounded
good,
fantastic.
man.
I just
And
remember it being really good.
Again, like clubs and venues, I feel like some of them just don't pay enough attention. It sounds weird to say that, but like don't pay enough attention to like the sound. Like we played that one in Sheffield. Sound was amazing. Void sound system in like a tiny club.
Yeah.
It's like, and it just makes such a difference. Like, yeah, getting all those factors right is obviously really important. Obviously, you had the visuals as well. Like, yeah, you just put a lot of thought into like a really well curated night, and
Thank you.
that's the level of effort that people need to put in there, I think, for it to work.
I mean, that shameless plug now, isn't it?
Go on.
No, that's
We've
what you're
got a
here for, mate.
section for shameless plugs.
Get it in there early.
Let's run it now.
That is essentially why I want why I'm doing Rabbit Hole, because one, it's a couple of reasons. One, it's an outlet for me to do the non sort of radio stuff and just the more for the heads, and also bring through up and coming artists. But two, just to try and research like the smaller venues and pack them out and think about it a little bit more. Like the last one that we had, it was at Brixton Ton of Bricks.
Nice.
And, you know, certain amount of budget. How can I transform this room in the most cost effective way where people actually walk in, they're like, fucking hell, what's going on in here? And what we did is they had panels all along the wall, and then I had Tech Genius. He was project mapping all of it. So what we had, these, when it was all dark, these little panels became little 3D things, and we had all these like animation going on.
Nice.
But little bit by bit, like with that, like that's what I want, like transformative space, like good sound, good visuals, and just pure escapism.
Yeah.
You know, you can get it obviously with festivals and these big lineups and stuff, but that's what's going on over there. And I think, having come from small raves and small venues, I'm craving it, and I really want to just get back in those little spaces with a fucking banging sound system, like you say.
It's encouraging to hear that, because I think a lot of people that come on this podcast, I think we're all kind of saying the same thing, aren't we, about this? Like the need for this underground and small cap thing is like so important.
It's just the community thing as well. Like I'm really looking forward to like having like building a community, and like we all back one another, we all support one another. I can't, like, there's, you know, you think you make drum and bass, we're all on the same wavelength, but there is ego out there, and there's some green rooms that you go into and it's just fucking, it's not great.
It's not a nice place
It's
to
not
be,
a great
is it?
place. Yeah, like you just don't really want to be in there, because there's a bit of animosity or something going on in the air. You can feel the energy. Just something ain't right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want that. I want us to all be backing one another and supporting one another. That's the way what we should be doing. That's what we've done to get where we are today, and it shouldn't stop.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
Do you know, maybe another thing back to this like drop clip scenario is that a lot of these like those bigger raves sometimes, like people probably have different opinions of this, but I look at some of them raves that I've played, been to, and I'm actually like, this rave's dead. And it's like the drop clip, okay, there's this big moment. It's like, do you know, this is my analogy I'm going to go for. It's a risky
Is it
one.
a football one?
No, it's going to be an MDMA one,
Okay.
It's like you take bare Mandy, and then you have that real big high, and then bang comes the low,
Yeah.
That's what those raves seem like to me. It's like, all it is the peaks and troughs. You're having like that kind of time. Whereas back in the day when I used to go to a rave, it was like, you do like a little dab, and you like, you creep in it throughout the night, and you do a little bit more, and it's this like elevated thing until it sort of peaks at some point and maybe like plateaus off, but it's not this extreme like up and down.
I think that's
because in those dances sometimes when it ain't that peak drop, you look out, like, you know, I said about like warehouse project and stuff. It's like this dance is dead, and like, I don't even care about like saying that really. I'm not. It's no diss to any promoter or particular. I'm just using it as an example. But these big raves of big crowds, when that drop ain't hitting and there's that bit in between, if someone isn't doing what you're saying, this like super fucking high octane for the entire set, it does dead it out.
There's
like,
also, again, talking about sound systems and small rooms, like there's something to be said about you go to a room that can hold 8,000 people. There's no sound system on earth that's going to make that room sound as good
that's the other thing
as
as well.
a small cap 300 club with a really good rig. That will always top an 8,000 cap venue with a rig.
100.
Like,
But
there's
there's a
no
couple
way.
of factors as well. There's that, and then there's also like programming of nights is not. It's kind of gone out the window as well.
Yeah. Do you remember
Like
they used to
before-
seem like there was some
Before
sort
you'd
of
have like a
fluidity?
liquid guy and like
Yeah.
a jump rope guy on the same lineup, and
Yes.
then you'd have like, it was kind of annoying for the liquid guy, but like you're also there to do like the warm up set was like that whole idea of like building the energy throughout the night. It's kind of gone a little bit because like if you
But then
get
also
booked for a
bringing
warehouse
the
project,
energy
you're just
back
gonna
down
play,
again
Yeah, you're
as
also
well.
going to play like the biggest set you. And I get it. Like if I was put on a big stage, I'm not thinking about who else is playing on that stage. I'm just going to play the sickest, most high energy set I can. And I get that.
Whereas
I guess-
keeping people in humbling 500 cap clubs or
Yeah,
1,000
yeah.
cap, like
Yeah.
none of this 20,000 malarkey like that.
yeah, you're less
Yeah.
like you're less likely to send it at 10 p.m. like, doing, like double drops with like whatever. Like yeah.
We were if you listened to the Amber episode, you'd have we basically said
Rehashing
we
it,
were
right?
talking about how we like curated lineups were just like the key to like back in the day, how like
Yeah.
there was something so beautiful about a really nice curated lineup with like a mixture of people on it that I just don't see these days, man. And it is, I find it upsetting. I do.
I think it's like there's a lot of like similarity in the sound as well. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I remember, you know, going to like hospitals. Rossiter at one point was unbelievable. I remember one rave we went to. Was, I think it was Danny Bird's Rave Digger launch actually.
At Brixton Academy.
Yeah,
I
I think
was there.
Electricity was there. Danny Bird was there. Cameron Crooked, Next Guy, like High Contrast. It was just all these amazing artists, and they all had their own sound. You know, there was that diversity in their sound, which was really cool. But we do hear quite a lot of the same dubs and the same doubles and triples.
Yeah,
It you know, I want to hear something different.
So let's talk about Rabbit Hole then, because actually it was actually one of the last points I had here. Yeah, when did this start? And the kind of, let's talk about maybe like the ethos behind it. Okay, so you kind of said it was to do events and kind of bring other people through.
Yeah.
So obviously, because I guess for a bit of background context, you were releasing with, it was All Stars originally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you kind of went independent, but was like with some majors or
Well,
like,
I was
what actually happened?
always independent,
Yeah.
even with All Stars. But yeah, we did Player, we did the EP, and then Nicotine, and then that after that, I think was the Go remix, and then from the Go remix was when the majors started to get interested.
Yeah.
And we went and had a bunch of meetings, fucking intimidating buildings. I didn't.
Yeah, what was that like, man? Like,
Really intimidating.
Yeah.
Like it's just a bit like fucking hell. Like the size of the scale of the place and just a bit overwhelming, to be honest. Like in the meetings, I didn't really say much. I kind of just let them do the talking because. You know, you grow up in the D&B scene, and the mentality is always kind of like fuck the majors. Do you know what I mean? But my experience with working, you know, I'm with Atlantic now, and I haven't got a bad word to say about them, to be honest. The team's great, everyone's really positive, and they're patient as well. So I can't really ask a lot more.
does it also take the pressure off you as well? Because I think we've spoken about before, right? Like when you guys wrote like Phone Line, for example, and like you have a tune that does really, really well, and then suddenly there's this thing in your head where like, well, now every tune I write has to do that well.
Yeah.
There's like this pressure, and I imagine for you that's probably amplified even more being on like a major as
Why do
well.
you think I went sober last year?
No, exactly. yeah.
It's a fucking head fuck, and because the bookings just went woof.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of traveling, a lot of lack of sleep, and also realizing, wow, another month's gone and still haven't bagged the next tune. Yeah, it was quite stressful.
So I guess Rabbit Hole in a way is almost like a respite for you as well. It's almost like a tonic or like a.
I'm well aware of like what's going on with drum and bass at the minute. Like it's amazing. We've got it popping all around the world, and like America's taking interest. That's great because from where I'm standing, it means more food on the fucking table for everyone, right? But I'm also aware that it probably won't last forever. It will go back underground, and when it does, I want Rabbit Hole to nurture that and be ready for it.
Smart. That's just smart, yeah. Yeah. And like you said, Matt, like your love for it's an underground scene, or it's an underground genre ultimately, and your love for it was born in like these raves in like Midlands towns and stuff. The idea of doing what you're doing now probably was so far away, right? Like you probably could have never dreamt the fact that you'll be doing this stuff.
Yeah, literally never did. Like I said, it was a bit of a fantasy.
Yeah.
But it always, realistically, it was just like, that's just too far out of reach. So I'm going to try and concentrate on something that seems a bit more reachable, which is I'm going to go for starting a business with my mate. And the perk of it was that we get free tickets to festivals. So that was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was, we loved that. But yeah, I couldn't. The fact that sat here with you boys and with Rabbit Hole's not actually launched yet. We've just got onto the long form agreement.
Nice.
So it's taken nearly over a year just to get to this point, and I'm just waiting for the phone call. The papers are ready. Come sign it. And then once that's done, then we can get music out. That's our. We're ready. Then we can get music out. We can get everything launched. And just start to hopefully contribute to the scene, and when it does go back underground, we can help nurture it.
Yeah, I love that. What's the if you can talk about it, what's like the musical vision for Rabbit Hole? Have you got a very like specific, like do you want to like nurture a certain type of artist, or is it kind of just whatever you're feeling at the time? Or
So with Rabbit Hole, I don't want to sign anyone exclusive. I want to back them, and if they need any help in any way that I can assist, then 100%. But I don't want to tie them down just because I want them to feel free that they can fly from Rabbit Hole or go Shogun or V Recordings. Like they have that freedom.
Yeah.
But the money that we would be giving as an advance, we'll use that money for their campaign. Right, so you're going to get more money actually put into your campaign and hopefully get this thing heard to the best of its ability.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Just like musical style as well. Like, is there?
Oh, the musical side.
Yeah.
Just music that kind of stands a testament of time more than anything. Just good melodic music.
Okay, so
integrity.
Yeah, I just want something that's like, this is cool, I really rate it, and could still rate this in 10 years' time.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
That's kind of what I foresee with Rabbit Hole.
Nice. And how about like all drum and bass, or again like things with vocalists and
100%.
Yeah, because I guess you obviously
like
a lot.
my sort of thing was like, because when I was in my duo, we were writing songs, and that was my first sort of introduction to actually stepping away from production and looking more at a piece of paper and writing. And I've grown to love it. And to be honest, I want to hear more drum and bass songs. Like I'm having sessions, and you can some of the songs that are just getting sort of put forward are just a bit on the nose. And I've kept myself quiet for quite a long time because I didn't feel confident enough to go into a room where these people have been doing this for a long time. I'm the new guy in the room, and I haven't felt comfortable enough to be like, I'm just not feeling this song. Because it just feels a bit cliche.
Is that a song about going to a rave or something?
I was about, I mean, I don't want to say, but it just doesn't feel authentic. And we had a Rabbit Hole camp last week, and it was with people who have very much either worked in the drum and bass scene or at least dabbled, but just more sort of independent artists as well. And it's just day and night. Like, I mean, oh my God, she's incredible.
She's incredible.
She's just so amazing.
Yeah.
I said to her at the end, it was because my laptop fucked up last week, and luckily I suddenly could step in on the production, but I was just watching her do her thing, and that was just amazing to watch because her range is unbelievable. I'm like, do you reckon you can harmonise that? And then she went, well, like this. And I was going to try and do it because she was going high. And I'm like, like that. Like, you did it better than I even envisioned. She's amazing. She's really like an amazing artist. I really rate her.
Wicked album as well. Wicked album. She just rocked, actually. Shout that one out. So in terms of, so obviously you said about the kind of label side, events as well. You said that's going to be an important part of it as well.
It is, because I really want to sort of like with the younger lads, and they're like, and girls, But I really want them to have something to like potentially have a platform where they can play their tunes. We touched on this earlier. Like a lot of the lineups, they're quite samey. So yeah, I do want to be able to try and bring forward younger artists and give them a platform to actually play their tunes at Rabbit Hole.
It's very exciting, man. I love to hear about people giving back to the scene, basically, which I think is what you're basically talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I knew like with like going down that road with a major, it was a deal breaker. Like if I can't give back to the people who have basically got me in this room, then we can't do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
It's a little bit of faith restored that they went along with it as well, to be fair.
I mean, look, it took negotiating, but I think like they understand, you know, things have happened in the past, similar sort of things, when it hasn't quite panned out, and it's very hard for you to go back to the underground when you've just spent however many years doing what you're doing with the majors, because the independents are going to take it personally, and they're going to be like, well, no, fuck you. You've just been around the world doing what you're doing for 4 or 5 years. What have you given us? You know, I understand that, and I really want to avert away from that and give as much as I possibly can. Yeah,
no, that's really,
refreshing to hear.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, we've never really, never really had a chance to speak with someone who's kind of in your position about that specifically, and it's always something I've really wondered. So,
I mean, because you are a Brit nominee, isn't it? I mean, that's a label you can have, isn't it?
Yeah, shit. How was that?
It was pretty fucking cool. I didn't think I'd like it, but like, it was.
First thing I'll ask is who did you meet where you were like, wow, that's that person? Like, who's the big like? That's that guy. Or
well,
that
I got
girl,
to speak to Ira. I mean, look, for me, I just wanted to meet the drum and bass people. It's cool. I spoke to Ray's grandma though. Like that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And but it was at the end of the Brits, and then my missus, she came up and she went, your granddaughter's fucking sick. She went, ooh, because I think she's just a bit too loud and swore right in her face. It's like this really sort of delicate grandma. I was like, chill. But no, it was a cool experience, man. I got to meet Ira and Takura, chatted to those boys.
Yeah.
And then went to the after party, but I don't really remember much from the after. It was such a surreal night. Like when we got back to our hotel, me and Em, we were just talking about what we just experienced. Cause
that's nuts.
I just feel so surreal. Like, you know, you get picked up from your hotel in this fancy Mercedes car, and then they take you to this place, and then they do the same in the after party. You get picked up, drop you off at this after party. It was really it felt like a bit of a movie, to be honest. It was just a bit like, what the fuck is going on?
Amazing. So when we were going to get you on originally, we asked the Amen Brethren, I forget the name of the crew, for some questions, and I actually still have them. So if you'd like to go through some, we can do that.
Love that.
Yeah, they're a bit random.
No.
A bit random.
I welcome the randomness.
So we had the North America tour already. You've done that. You said you're going back in 2 weeks.
I'll go to LA in 2 weeks.
Well, whenever you'll probably be there when this comes out. Let's imagine that. Okay. Naomi Tran said, would you play R&V again? I guess that's Rhythm and Vines in New Zealand.
Yeah, 100%.
Sick festival.
Yeah, I loved Rhythm and Vines. That was amazing, man.
The green room just being that like mansion or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's so nuts.
Yeah, I felt like it was like American Pie or something. It's like, this is interesting.
We when we played in 2019, so 2019, like New Year's going into 2020 was when we played. And I can't remember who the headliner was. It was like some American like big rapper, I think like Designer or like, who's the guy that did that Panda tune? Designer. I think it was Designer. Anyway, he had like a 50-person entourage, and it was like me, Cameron Crooked, Calix and T-B, like Wilco was there, like loads of people were there. And suddenly this guy comes into like the rooms and was like, everyone's got to get out. Designer needs the whole house. So like, every single artist got kicked out of this house. So Designer is like literally had 50 people in his entourage, could just have the whole thing. We were just all out on the grass. It's like, what do we do? What do we do now? Like, my stuff's in there. Like,
It's just so bizarre.
it was honestly mad.
I think like allowing artists to do, you're just like enabling them.
Yeah, like
to-
I don't know why they agreed to that. But
Nah, just be like, sorry, there's other people here.
yeah,
as
there's
well.
like 100 other people that need a place. Yeah,
They should have pranked him somehow. Man. Like, him, like, social media, the shit out of it. Like, look what
Take
we
a
did,
shit in the-
toss her backstage. The whole backstage lock off for them.
Dog food in the kettle.
Well,
yeah. Designer drinking his
we've had
cups of
worse
tea.
than that.
No, as in you turn it on and you leave the gaff, mate. It stinks it out.
But
for
no, we-
days.
People have done worse than that in previous.
Oh yeah. I can imagine. I mean, yeah. There's other things you can put in kettles and turn on. You don't want to.
You
put
don't
in
know
there.
the famous one. I probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah, I probably
You
don't.
don't remember the like Jackmaster one?
No.
Nah, no.
Right, say no more, Rich. Say no more. Do not incriminate
Common
yourself.
knowledge when he shat in a kettle.
Oh, I
like,
thought you-
That happened at my uni.
He almost
once,
got
actually.
cancer.
Yeah, no, like, everybody
someone did
knows
that.
someone that's done
Yeah,
that,
it
bruv.
happened at uni. Yeah, and also in the washing machines that everyone has to use as well. Someone should like.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Why would you do
man,
It was
what
actually
the
one of my
fuck?
friends that did that. I was like, why did you do that?
God, this
Like,
podcast is
I'm a
taking a
different
dive, innit?
generation, man. We just used to draw on people. Actually, now to be fair, we did used to, in our halls. We used to piss in rival lifts.
Yeah, that was it. It was the rival
Pretty
blocks thing. Anyway,
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, anyway. Alex Scott said, "Who is Dr. Floggy?"
Alex Scott.
Yeah.
I know who that is. That's my best mate, and he's called Donut. It's not Alex Scott. He, Dr. Flugie was. I did like a mix series when, how old was I? I don't know, maybe like 17, 18, and I didn't have a DJ name, and we had a party one night, and I was just doing stupid shit, and then a friend of mine said, "You're Dr. Flugie." So I called it that. It was like a liquid versus jump up mix. That's where it comes from.
Class. Scott Bay, fave cheese.
Ooh, I love cheese.
I did wonder when I saw this. I was like, is Scott known for like loving cheese?
It must be a
I
thing.
don't think I am, but I
Like,
I do like cheese.
TikToking a red wine and cheese night.
That sounds like a good night.
That's
man.
not a bad bit of
I'm all
content,
for it. I don't know, man. Probably. What's that? Oh, I tell you what's really banging is that. Is it Boursin? It's like a garlic, herb and cheese one. Oh, that's banging.
okay, I've not had that before.
That's really
You like
good.
Boursin?
Yeah,
Mate,
comes in a
like-
little cardboard box, mate.
Oh, you've had Boursin.
And then it comes
It's-
out and then you get the little, it's like a little tin foil.
Yeah,
It's not tin foil,
that
but
fresh bread. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I've probably had.
Garlic
Yeah.
and herb, basically, isn't
it
it?
is. Yeah,
like raw.
really nice.
Nice. 4D DMB said, "What's your fave and least favorite thing about working with vocalists?"
And my favourite thing is that you get to experience their realm. Like our realm is very technical based, and I like when you're working with like a song like Venby, for example. Like I find it quite mesmerising how she can take all these words, bundle them up in a way that makes sense. It's really it's very articulate, and I'm just like, how did you just do that?
I honestly find like lyric writing. So I will give you your flowers here because I've tried to write lyrics before for a singer to be like, you know, sometimes like when you have an idea for a song, you're like, actually, if the lyrics went a bit like this or whatever, and you try and impossible, can't do it, and to make it fit with like a song, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just like
I can't do it either.
So I took it 20 years to do an album.
That's
Yeah.
why, that's why I took, 20 years to do an album. I'm sat here with you jokers. Playing second fiddle on a podcast. Oi.
Joke.
least favorite thing, I don't know. And every vocalist is different, man. Like sometimes you can go in the studio and it's just bish bash bosh done.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really not that, and sometimes you're adamant you got it on the last one, but they feel like they can get it better.
Yeah.
And take after take, I'd say that
And
can
the
be
little
quite
the
a
nudging
tedious
as well of the
process.
vocal, like
Oh, well, to get it in time.
Yeah, but sometimes you're like, it's in time. They're like, nah, man, like,
Yeah.
1 millisecond that way, and then
That is the thing.
This is
'Cause
such an
you-
interesting angle for me to have because I'm 100%.
Yeah,
all
it's
of
the
those
nudging
people you
thing,
just
man. They're like, you
mentioned.
need to nudge it like a
But
tiny
sometimes
bit.
that like latency adds a really nice delay to certain phrases, and you're like, "Can we leave that one in with the latency and then nudge the rest of it forwards?" And they're like, "No, whole thing." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Honestly,
little phrase,
that's
it's like
literally
nice
what
little
Sattel
swing.
said to me the other day when we were in the studio. I was like, he's like, no. He's like, trust me, it's like it's natural. He's like, it sounds good. And I actually allowed it for him.
Yeah, it's like
Probably 'cause
lazy.
it's
Sometimes
Sattel.
the latency
Yeah.
gives you that like like accidental lazy. Like, and sometimes you need that on a little line or like a little phrase. It's a vibe
added
sometimes.
swing.
Yeah, man.
No, it's the nudging thing for me, man. That kills me every time.
Yeah, when I've like heard it, like say if it, we need it by tomorrow, and I've already heard it a lot, and my ears need a rest.
Yeah.
That's when it really does fry my brain, because I'm like, I don't even know anymore. Like, is it in time? Is it out of time? But yeah, you just take a step back.
Yeah.
Do you know what? On the flip, like obviously, if you're in the room working with that person, I guess this situation is not going to arise. But say you weren't, and they sent you something. If you do something different with it than what they had, like say I sent you a vocal, we were like working remotely, and I had it a particular way, and I didn't send you like an example,
like a reference.
I always send like a reference, an example take. If I didn't, like there's times when I've got it back and someone's
in the wrong place.
Someone's just put like it in a completely different flow.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than having that like that from the opposite side. But I guess that's the battle, isn't it? You're like, no, but it sounds sick like this, and I'm like, I didn't write it like that. Like it meant something like this, and then you're just never gonna. No one's ever gonna prefer the other version.
I've been in that situation so many times where I haven't had a reference track, so I've just dropped it in thinking, oh, just be in the right place, and it hasn't have to start moving. Yeah, basically what you said, in that exact situation.
All I'm trying to say is that's frustrating both ways.
Yeah, for sure. Billy Lauritsen said, are there any Marabou State remixes on the horizon?
Well, they were supposed to be releasing their third album, but unfortunately, one of them's fallen very unwell, and they just did a post to say that they're putting a stop on the tour. So, what they did last time in their second album, they did a DJ tour, and then they did their live tour. So I went to see them in Bristol not too long ago, and they've really upped their game. Marabou, you've upped your game with your DJ sets, like pucker. But yeah, unfortunately, one of them's not very well, so they've put a stop to everything. But I was planning on doing one from the new album.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'd be, that's a big
Sick.
opportunity, that, yeah. Last...
Not an official one. It was just going to be a bootleg.
Oh, okay, yeah, fine.
Just because I love their music.
Fine. Yeah, okay, I didn't wonder what the link was. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
A bootleg that can maybe turn into an official one if it does really well.
There is...
Yeah, that's
has been
happening a
known to
lot.
happen.
That is happening a lot at the moment.
Loads,
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, like the one... That I think about it, the one bootleg that me and Tom have successfully done, as in like we've started so many and never finished one. We did a bootleg of that Submersion Orchestra tune like 10 years ago. Well, not 10 years ago. Like 8 years ago. And then Ninja signed it as an official remix. So it can work. For as much as I slag off bootlegs, it does work as well.
Got to
Does
play the
work.
game.
Got to create those opportunities.
Ah, exactly. That's literally how we got
And with
it
a
started.
fucking AI STEM.
Jack's just like,
I ain't saying a word.
Dun, dun.
yeah, and look, I think you were about to say AI stemming.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. And I mean,
Super easy.
the tools are there. So if you want to have a play with some stems, and
But
go do
bootleg
it.
stuff is not drum and bass. That's what I would say. Make bootlegs of tunes that aren't drum and bass.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got enough
Have some
bootlegs.
fun with it.
Yeah, have some fun with it, man. And then last one. This one, it took me a while to understand what it was actually asking, but I think I get it. So if you don't get it, I can explain it to you.
Okay.
Whoa, I just opened up Gmail. I can remember what it was, though. It was, instead of balls, so I think he's actually talking about seeds, what other toy would you like there to be in an avocado? So if you open up an avocado, it's the seed in the middle. You can replace that with anything. What would you choose? Super random question.
Probably a bouncy ball, because then I could just play with my dog and just keep him entertained.
Yeah, he would love that. Yeah. I was thinking it was a bit like, well, they're Kinder eggs, isn't it? It's basically that, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 There
That
you
was
go.
the
I rate
first thing
it.
that popped to my mind was a Kinder egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Like a
little,
little toy
pops.
inside.
Yeah.
Mine was
Okay.
just something else that I could eat.
Just another
Says a
edible
lot about
thing.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Let's do a couple of the... We haven't done this for a while, actually. Let's do a couple of the...
Segments.
Yeah, we'll do a couple of the quick fire questions, and then...
Nice.
I was going to say we'll give you a shameless plug, but we've spoke about Rabbit Hole to death, so I don't want to do that again. All right, so influences, like what's been your biggest, let's say non-drum and bass influence in your music making?
Oh, well, it'd be a tear up between Bonobo, Faithless, Marabou State, and The Prodigy.
Nice. Strong selection there. Actually, just quickly, sidebar, Tom's wedding on Thursday.
Yeah.
there was a guy, I think it was on Kelly's side of the family, who was like Prodigy's driver for like 20 years or something.
Really?
Yeah, me and Harry were chatting for ages.
Sick,
yeah,
mate.
and then we were like, "Oh, I bet that was mad." He was like, "Not really. They just love going to the gym. Like, apparently they just weren't massive party animals." But he said James Blunt, biggest party animal going.
James,
Wow.
I just remembered that story. I was like, that's super
true.
random. Yeah.
I think I've heard that about James
Yeah,
Blunt.
apparently he was
had
like
some real
a
alcohol.
menace.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Really?
a menace.
And with,
yeah.
with chicks as
Yeah,
well.
this is
He's
what- that's
a
what he was
proper
saying.
baker.
Yeah,
yeah.
like-
That's like known. That's known.
I didn't know that. Yeah, apparently
Singing
James,
like these like really like romantic, beautiful songs, but actually like
He's an
tearing it
absolute
up with like
demon.
5 women in his hotel room.
yeah, so
Go
there
on,
you go.
James.
Actually, I had a question because obviously you've been working with like big vocalists and stuff. What would be like your dream collaboration? So any vocalist currently active, who would be your number one target?
Oh.
Target's a weird way of saying that, but you know what I mean. Who would you like to work with?
Oh. Oh, wow. That is a really hard question.
It's so difficult to answer like off the cuff sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
even
to be
we
honest, a
struggle
lot-
when we do it, when we ask it to each other.
Yeah,
We're there like,
yeah.
oh my god.
A lot of the people that I'm thinking they're just not alive anymore.
All right, well then revive
you
that.
can- you
Let's
can run that.
Yeah, in this fantasy world, we can revive people.
I mean, look, I love soul music and blues. Like, I think like it could be cool to do a tune with like Bill Withers.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been sampled on Bear Tunes as well. So
He has, but just to be in the room with him and
Yeah,
just see
yeah.
his like, you know, his workflow and how, and just to hear him like in the studio, that would be cool.
I was thinking as well the other day, randomly, how mad like a Caliber and Amy Winehouse tune would have been.
Oh wow!
Could you imagine
Yeah,
that?
That would
Like,
work.
Yeah, that would work like insanely
Yeah.
well. Okay, I'll pick one more. Okay, yeah, this one, I like this one. Favorite aspect of the current scene? What's changed or happened recently that you like? We've put a positive spin on it. This is why.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's more positive as a whole.
Yeah.
It really is, because we're seeing just so many different countries around the world take interest in this scene that was birthed, this little thing that was birthed in the UK and has now grown internationally. I think it's great. It's great because it, you know, essentially it's going to bring in more work for us all, and you know, it just puts more food on the table, which is great for us. So I think that's exciting. You know, it's better to have more countries interested than none.
And less, yeah.
Yeah, because then we're totally reliant on just the UK.
Yeah.
And you know, if that's the case, and you know, sometimes you don't get much say in the situation, depending on how much influence a promoter can have.
Especially with the cost of living going away is in the UK as well. I think it's just going to be less money for people to actually go out. So
And also,
Yeah.
I mean, every country you go to, the scenes are ever so slightly different. Like everyone's
Yeah.
tastes differ,
Yeah.
and
the
so
dance
yours
moves are different.
Well, I mean more that what you play in your sets then
Yeah,
changes
true.
because the crowd wants different things. Like, and it's refreshing to get out of the UK and play in some of these new
Actually,
places.
just
isn't
on
it?
that,
Like,
because I'm not just on that. Sorry, I know we've gone off a tangent, but we love tangents. Obviously, jump up in the UK and Europe is massive. I don't actually see that many jump up DJs going to America.
nope.
I just thought I was thinking about this earlier today.
Don't you think, to me, like looking at, like overviewing the globe and obviously not traveling as much as you guys, but sort of seeing and hearing and paying attention. I feel like there's a lot of places that are like not playing catch up, but they're just going through a different transition to what we are. I feel like that's why America is such a beautiful one at the moment, because I feel like actually America's in a really good place that actually isn't on that. It's almost a few years not behind. That's the wrong like terminology, because that sounds a bit offensive, and I don't mean it like that. I just mean it in a way that it's going through a different period at the moment that is way more susceptible to underground music.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the reasons there was such uproar with that bullshit, that like that article and all that shit that happened recently.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
actually, if anything, that's actually not what's going on in America. That has always been going on. And actually, at the moment, it seems like America's one of those places where the underground is like really thriving.
the
and,
fact
like,
that we're all
people
going
are
over there,
going
yeah.
over there, who either haven't been there before,
Yeah.
or you know have been there a while, like years ago, and are actually now like, oh shit, I can go to America again, and it's
Yeah.
actually going to be lucrative for me. I think it says a lot about the US, like. Yeah, it's interesting. I think you're right with what you said. I think it's a
Like,
good
were your
point.
sets like? I know you say you play like a lot of liquid and jumper. Were you finding one style was doing better over there than the other?
No, not really. Usually when I play, like I try to sort of like when we start, let's fucking go, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get halfway, like and start chilling out a little bit. So no, like it seemed like a pretty. They liked all of it. You know, it was quite welcoming to see. What I have seen in the UK, especially in certain cities, is because we've got the drug of choice from the generation below us now is ketamine, right?
I haven't spoken about ketamine in a while, actually. So okay, this is good. Yeah.
But it really is a thing,
Yeah,
and
it is.
that's what going back to what I said about Australia and New Zealand. They ain't doing ket down there.
Yeah.
They're doing MDMA or drinking, or they're sober. But the vibe felt very, very like just
Alive.
colourful and beautiful. Like, and there's certain ones I've played in the UK which just feels really dark and dissociated. And to the point, it feels awkward because there's people on the dance floor who are just completely dissociated. They're probably having a great fucking time.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit, the energy between someone sort of playing the tunes and people dancing, like that energy's got to be reciprocated. And I think with ketamine, it kind of gets in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is it's a weird one.
We've spoken about it a lot on here, and like it's definitely a thing. That analogy I used about MDMA earlier, that's kind of it, because it's not that, is it? It's actually it's K, and it's like you almost need to have that big drop in order to get to wake people up. Wait, like, oh shit, I'm in the rave. Yeah, sick. And, like, see you later. Like, oh, I'm back down again now, and it's like obviously it sounds extreme, but I reckon there is definitely
something
some
to it,
weight
man.
to it. Like,
It's the same in Canada and the US though, because they're not doing ket.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've got like similar energy over there as well, which is great.
It's stop doing ket, people, man. Do some proper rave drugs. Let's start
Save
having
it
some
for the
fun
afters.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get all, let's get fucking rowdy in the rave again, and then at the afters you can have your anxiety fix of ketamine. Have a little wobble around the yard, everything will be fine. But not, keep it out of the dance.
Wow. I think that is a perfect way to close this podcast. Rich's PSA to the nation. Please stop doing K. But Andy, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, boys.
Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that chat.
big up,
There's
man.
actually loads we didn't chat about, so I feel like you're going to have to come back. So.
Yeah.
Tricked you.
I'd love to, man. It'd be great to come back.
Nah, I really enjoyed
big
that,
up,
man.
man.
And
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Rabbit Hole launch. Good luck for when that comes out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do an event, so you want to get all your boys down. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't know when or where yet. Like,
Yeah.
like I say, we'll get the long form done and then we'll get cracking on the launch.
Amazing.
mate.
All right. I think good place to stop.
Yeah, man. Big up.
Safe.
Well, cheers, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.